India's vision for Viksit Bharat 2047 goals, targets, and leadership perspectives. India stands at a pivotal moment in its developmental journey with government's ambitions of Viksit Bharat 2047 representing a comprehensive roadmap to transform the nation into a developed economy by the centenary of its independence. The vision encompasses far-reaching economic aspirations, social development goals, and technological advancements that collectively aim to position India among the world's leading nations. Viksit Bharat, meaning developed India, represents a transformative vision to make India a self-reliant and prosperous economy by 2047. The vision was prominently highlighted in the Union Budget 25-26, where Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman outlined priorities to create opportunities and drive progress. The vision rests on four foundational pillars: Yuva, Garib, Mahila and Kisan, reflecting the government's commitment to inclusive growth that leaves no segment of the society behind. The initiative seeks to evolve India as a developed nation through inclusive growth and sustainable development with effective governance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has emphasized that the vision goes beyond mere economic growth. This is not just the change of sentiment, this reflects change in confidence. The comprehensive approach involves consolidating infrastructure, expanding social welfare schemes, driving economic growth, promoting sustainable development, and enhancing both ease of living and ease of doing business. The economic dimensions of Viksit Bharat 2047 are both ambitious and specific. According to the Economic Survey 2024-25, India needs to achieve an average growth rate of around 8% at the constant prices for about a decade or two to realize its economic aspirations. This sustained growth is essential for India to escape the middle income trap and establish itself as a developed nation. Niti Aayog has projected that India's economy need to reach $30 trillion by 2047, which requires the country to grow at a sustained pace of 7 to 10% for 20-30 years. In more immediate term, Prime Minister Modi has noted that India is rapidly moving towards becoming a $5 trillion economy and will surpass the $10 trillion mark by the end of the next decade. To achieve these ambitious economic targets, the investment rate must rise to around 35% of GDP from the current 31%. Niti Aayog has projected that India's economy need to reach $30 trillion by 2047. It requires the country to grow at a sustained pace of 7 to 10% for 20-30 years. In the immediate terms, Prime Minister Modi has noted India is rapidly moving towards becoming a $5 trillion economy and will surpass the $10 trillion mark by the end of next decade. To achieve these ambitious economic targets, the investment rate must rise to around 35% of GDP from the current 31%. Additionally, India must need to further develop its manufacturing sector and invest significantly in emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, and biotechnology. The production-linked incentive schemes, which provides financial incentives to key sectors such as electronics, pharmaceuticals, textiles, represent one of the government's strategies to boost manufacturing and reduce import dependency. The vision of Viksit Bharat places significant emphasis on human development outcomes. A fundamental target is achieving 100% literacy across the nation, improving from current levels. This educational transformation extends beyond basic literacy to enhancing the quality of education institutions and developing India as an educational capital. Healthcare represents another crucial dimension with the goal of providing quality healthcare services accessible to every citizen. As part of this vision, Prime Minister Modi announced plans to create 75,000 new medical college seats in the next 5 years to decrease the number of students going abroad for medical education. The employment landscape will also need significant transformation, with projections indicating that India needs to create 7.85 million new non-farm jobs annually until 2030. India needs to create 7.85 million non-farm jobs annually until 2030. India needs to create 7.85 million non-farm jobs. 7.85 million non-farm jobs until 2030. This employment generation must be coupled with skill development initiatives to ensure that India's demographic dividend is effectively leveraged. Developing high quality, future ready infrastructure at scale and speed forms the cornerstone of Viksit Bharat vision. This infrastructure and technological advancement. This infrastructure development encompasses transportation network, communication systems, urban facilities designed to support economic growth and connectivity. The technological ambitions with its vision are equally bold. India aims to establish a space station by 2035 with plans to eventually land an Indian on the moon. The government has established Anusandhan National Research Foundation to strengthen technological leadership and drive scientific breakthroughs. Additionally, several mission mode initiatives have been launched, including the National Quantum Mission and National Mission for Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems. Environmental sustainability is integrated into these technological goals with plans to generate a substantial portion of energy from renewable sources to reduce pollution. This approach aligns with global climate commitments while ensuring India's energy security. Agricultural modernization and food security. Agriculture, the backbone of India's economy, features prominently in the Viksit Bharat vision. The goals include revolutionizing agriculture for high yields and improved livelihoods for farmers. This is also an ambition to transform India into a major food exporter while supporting small scale farmers. Agricultural modernization will involve adopting advanced farming techniques, improving supply chain infrastructure, enhancing farmer incomes through value addition and market linkages. These improvements are essential not only for economic growth but also for ensuring food security for India's growing population. Effective governance represents a critical enabler for achieving the Viksit Bharat vision. The plan envisages implementing comprehensive governance reforms and justice reforms to enhance institutional efficiency and effectiveness. The creation of greenfield cities represents another governance innovation aimed at fostering urban development aligned with contemporary needs and environmental considerations. The Union Budget outlines six transformative reforms in taxation, power, urban development, mining, financial sector, and regulatory policies to accelerate India's journey towards Viksit Bharat. These reforms aim to improve the ease of doing business, promote investment, and enhance overall economic efficiency. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has repeatedly emphasized the importance of and achievability of the Viksit Bharat vision through various public addresses. In his Independence Day speech in 2024, he drew a powerful historical parallel between before independence 40 crore Indians showed courage, dedication and bravery and moved on with one motto and broke the shackles of colonial rule. Their only goal was freedom. If 40 crore Indians could do this, then 140 crore Indians of my family can do wonders. If take one pledge, then despite all challenges, we can make a Viksit Bharat by 2047. The Prime Minister has described the current period as India's Amrit Kal or golden era, asserting every country experiences a phase in its history when it propels its developmental journey multiple folds ahead. It's just like the Amrit Kal for that nation. For Bharat, this Amrit Kal has arrived now. He has emphasized that this is the moment for India to take a quantum leap in its development journey trajectory. Modi has consistently highlighted the role of youth in achieving the Viksit Bharat vision, stating that youth power is both the agent of change and also the beneficiaries of change. He has stressed that young people will not only drive the greatest transformation in country's history but also be its biggest beneficiaries. The Prime Minister has underscored the importance of collective effort, stating achieving big goals is not solely the responsibility of government machinery but requires the collective effort of every citizen. To facilitate this collective engagement, the government has launched Viksit Bharat 2047 section on the MyGov portal inviting citizens to submit ideas and suggestions for realizing this vision. The government has adopted a multifaceted approach to implementing the Viksit Bharat vision. The sectoral group of secretaries on technology has held the sectoral group of secretaries on technology has held discussions to identify and prioritize technological interventions. These efforts focus on technological reliance, self-reliance, sustainability, and economic growth. Citizen engagement forms a crucial element of the implementation strategy. The government has launched special initiatives like Viksit Bharat 2047 Voice of Youth to channel the creativity, energy, and ideas of the younger generation, aligning their aspirations with national development goals. Prime Minister Modi has emphasized that Viksit Bharat vision requires sabka prayas, everyone's effort to turn grand resolutions into reality. The Viksit Bharat 2047 vision represents an ambition and comprehensive roadmap for transforming India into a developed nation. By the centenary of its independence, the goals span economic growth, social development, technological advancements, infrastructure creation, agricultural modernization, and governance reforms. These multifaceted objectives are underpinned by specific targets, including achieving a $30 trillion economy, creating millions of new jobs, attaining 100% literacy, and developing cutting edge technological capabilities. Prime Minister Modi has provided passionate leadership for its vision: 30 trillion economy, millions of new jobs, 100% literacy, cutting edge technological capabilities, emphasizing its achievability through collective national efforts and drawing inspiration from India's struggle for independence. As India progresses through its self-described Amrit Kal, the realization of the Viksit Bharat will require sustained commitment, strategic investment, and active participation from all segments of society. The journey towards 2047 has begun, with government, citizens, and particularly the youth of India collectively shaping the path towards a developed, self reliant, and prosperous nation. Five concrete steps for achieving Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. As India pursues its goal of becoming a developed nation by 2047, making the centenary of its independence, the government must implement focused, actionable targets to transform this vision into reality. Based on an analysis of current policies and expert recommendations, here are five concrete steps that the government should take to achieve the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. The Economic Survey 2024-25 explicitly states that private investment is crucial for achieving Viksit Bharat, as public funds alone cannot meet the enormous infrastructure demands. The government should implement a comprehensive strategy to boost private sector participation across critical infrastructure sectors. This requires developing innovative financing mechanisms such as auctioning exits at greenfield expressways and implementing betterment levies to capture increased land value from infrastructure projects. Auctioning exits at greenfield expressways and implementing betterment levies to capture increased land value from infrastructure projects. The government should expand and refine existing public-private partnership models, including build, operate, transfer, design, build, finance, operate, transfer, hybrid annuity model, and toll operate transfer structures. Build, operate, transfer, design, build, finance, operate, transfer, design, build, finance, operate, transfer, design, build, finance, operate, transfer, hybrid annuity model, toll, operate, transfer structures. To make these models To make these models more attractive, policymakers must improve capacities to conceptualize projects, develop sector-specific strategies, and enhance expertise in risk and revenue sharing, contract management, and conflict resolution. Additionally, as suggested during ministerial discussions, the government should create targeted incentives for private investment in future technologies, positioning India as a leader in innovation. Implement an integrated human capital development framework. A crucial step towards Viksit Bharat is creating a robust human capital development framework that addresses the skill gaps highlighted in various assessments. The government should establish a comprehensive skill development fund that follows a public private partnership model where the government provides financing and infrastructure while the private sector develops curriculum and delivers training. This approach would help address the significant employability gap as surveys have shown that many job seekers lack the necessary skills for available positions. The framework should include significant expansion of medical education, building on Prime Minister Modi's announced plan to create 75,000 new medical seats in the next 5 years. Educational reform should focus on making India an educational capital with 100% literacy and quality institutions. The human capital strategy must also prioritize creating 7.85 million new farm jobs annually until 2030, ensuring India's demographic dividend is effectively leveraged. This requires coordinated action between central government, states, and industry to align education and skill development with market demands. The government should implement a balanced approach to infrastructure development that addresses both rural and urban needs. For rural areas, as highlighted in the economic survey, the focus should be on rural housing, drinking water, health and sanitation, clean fuel, social protection, and rural connectivity. The special thrust given to infrastructure development in PBTG areas under the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana should be expanded to to other marginalized communities. For urban areas, the government must accelerate the development of sustainable modern cities by implementing the six transformative reforms outlined in the Union Budget 25-26, particularly in power and urban development sectors. Infrastructure development should incorporate disaster resilience, improved public transport, preservation of heritage sites, and last mile connectivity. The government should also prioritize the creation of greenfield cities as mentioned in the Viksit Bharat vision, ensuring they are planned with contemporary needs and environmental considerations in mind. A crucial component would be to increasing capex on infrastructure as industry bodies like CII and FICI have called for 25% increase to boost the economy. Transitioning to green technologies is essential for a sustainable development and meeting India's net zero commitments. The government should implement a comprehensive plan to support the adoption of alternative fuels and power sources in construction equipment and infrastructure development. The transition must be managed carefully with special attention to 9-10 states whose economies are built around coal. The government should create a dedicated transition fund to support communities affected by shift away from coal-based economy, ensuring that climate action does not leave vulnerable populations behind. Additionally, policies should be implemented to subsidize green technology adoption and reduce dependence on fossil fuels. This includes providing regulatory support and financial incentives for renewable energy projects, with the goal of generating a substantial portion of energy from renewable sources to reduce pollution, while ensuring energy security. The achievement of Viksit Bharat requires fundamental governance reforms at all levels. As highlighted by the Comptroller and Auditors General, strengthening local governance is essential. Without the development of grassroots level at the local level, we cannot achieve Viksit Bharat. With approximately 2,60,000 panchayats and 7,000 urban local bodies in the country, the government should implement a comprehensive program to augment their governance, development, administration, and resources. The government should continue and expand initiatives to invite public citizen participation, such as Viksit Bharat 2047 section on the MyGov portal. This aligns with Prime Minister Modi's emphasis that achieving Viksit Bharat is not solely the responsibility of government machinery but requires collective effort from every citizen. Additionally, the six transformative reforms outlined in the Union Budget 25-26 in taxation, power, urban development, mining, financial sector, and regulatory policies should be implemented with clear timelines and accountability mechanisms. These reforms should focus on improving ease of doing business, promoting investment, and enhancing overall economic efficiency. The path to Viksit Bharat requires coordinated and sustained efforts across multiple domains. By implementing these five concrete steps: accelerating private investments, developing human capital, strengthening infrastructure, adopting green technology, and reforming governance, the government can create a necessary foundation for transforming India into a developed nation by 2047. These steps address the four pillars of Viksit Bharat: Yuva, Garib, Mahila, and Kisan, while creating an enabling environment for sustainable and inclusive growth. With determined implementation and continuous evaluation, these measures can help realize the vision of a developed India by its centenary of independence. The four pillars of Viksit Bharat 2047. Viksit Bharat 2047, the comprehensive national vision to transform India into a developed nation by its centenary of independence, rests on four foundational pillars that have been consistently emphasized by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. These pillars represent the key demographic segments whose empowerment is deemed essential for achieving the ambitious goals of developed India. According to multiple statements by Prime Minister Modi, the four pillars of Viksit Bharat are Yuva, Youth, Garib, Mahila and Annadata. Yuva, Garib, Mahila and Kisan. Yuva, Garib, Mahila and Kisan. Recognizing the demographic dividend and potential of India's population, Garib because focusing on poverty alleviation and improving living standards for economically disadvantaged, Mahila emphasizing women empowerment and gender equality, and Kisan supporting agricultural development and improving farmers' livelihoods. In February 24, while addressing Viksit Bharat, Viksit Gujarat program via video conferencing, Modi's Prime Minister Modi explicitly stated that there were four pillars of the program: poor, youth, farmers, and women. This conceptualization has been consistently reiterated across various platforms and initiatives. The Union budget presentations have reflected this four-pillared approach to development. During the interim budget, Prime Minister Modi remarked, "This budget will empower all four pillars of the Viksit Bharat: youth, poor, women, and farmers." He emphasized the budget carries the guarantee of strengthening the foundation of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Similarly, in earlier statements about the interim budget for 2024, he noted that it will empower all four pillars of the Viksit Bharat: Yuva, Garib, Mahila and Kisan, and that it will give guarantee of making India a developed nation by 2047. The government has launched numerous initiatives aligned with these four pillars. For instance, Viksit Sankalp Yatra, a nationwide outreach program, is structured around four demographic segments. During the launch of this program, Prime Minister Modi underlined that it is based on the four Amrit pillars of Viksit Bharat. In various address, Prime Minister has emphasized that these four segments represent the most important जातीज or communities in his view. He stated, मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ी जाति है गरीब, सबसे बड़ी जाति है युवा, महिलाएं और किसान. For me, the most important communities are poor, youth, women and farmers. He further asserted that upliftment of four communities would make India developed. The four pillars reflect the holistic approach to development that aims to be inclusive and equitable. According to sources analyzing the Viksit Bharat initiative, the pillars of Viksit Bharat, Yuva, Garib, Mahila, and Kisan reflect a holistic approach towards development that is all encompassing and equitable. The clear tax explanation of Viksit Bharat notes that this vision based on four pillars represents the government aspiration to transform into India into a self-reliant and prosperous economy by 2047. This initiative seeks to evolve India into a developed nation through inclusive governance and sustainable development. Inclusive growth and sustainable development through effective governance. In summary, the four pillars Yuva, Garib, Mahila, and Kisan constitute the core demographic sector focus of the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. Their empowerment and development are seen as essential prerequisites for transforming India into a developed nation by the centenary of its independence. Key challenges in implementing India's Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. India's ambitious vision to become a developed nation represents a transformative roadmap. While the vision is compelling, it faces numerous significant challenges that must be addressed. First is economic hurdles. The economic challenges facing Viksit Bharat 2047 are substantial and multidimensional. High inflation stands as a significant impediment to achieving the vision's economic goals. As noted by economists, India faces persistent high headline inflation, particularly due to food and fuel cost. This inflation reduces people's saving, thereby reduces the prospect of an investment-led growth by channelizing the savings. This inflation reduces people's savings, thereby reduces the prospect for an investment-led growth by channelizing the savings. Reduces the prospect for an investment-led growth by channelizing this savings, reduces the prospect of investment-led growth by channelizing these savings. The current growth rate of around 6% is considered insufficient for transformation required to reach developed nation status by 2047. The most critical economic objective is to achieve an average growth rate of around 8% at constant prices for a decade or two, which is necessary to realize India's economic aspirations. According to Niti Aayog projections, India's economy need to reach 30 trillion by 2047, requiring a sustained growth of 7 to 10% for 20-30 years. To achieve these ambitious targets, the investment rate must be around 35% of the GDP from the current 31%. To achieve these ambitious targets, the investment rate must be around 35% of GDP from the current 31%. However, financial constraints pose significant challenges to this growth trajectory, including budget limitations, dependence on external funding, vulnerability to economic fluctuations. Economic inequality represents another formidable challenge. The stark economic disparity that exists between various regions, communities, income groups threatens the inclusive nature of the vision. In 22-23, the top 1% of Indians earned 53 lakh each, while those in the bottom earned merely 75,000 each. The top 1% control 40% of the country's total wealth, and this disparity continues to grow larger over time. Addressing this inequality is essential for achieving inclusive growth envisioned in Viksit Bharat 2047. The middle income trap poses another economic challenge. The Journal of Public Policy notes that India's vision of becoming high income nation by 2047 is ambitious because of its significant forthcoming challenges to be faced to avoid the middle income trap. The economy has stagnated in its contribution to the agriculture and service sectors, hindering its transition to more advanced and diversified nation. The implementation of Viksit Bharat 2047 faces several governance and administrative hurdles. Bureaucratic delays represent significant obstacle as slow decision-making processes can stall projects and impede process. Coordination issues between different government departments further complicate implementation as they may not work together effectively to achieve common goals. Prime Minister Modi emphasized that Viksit Bharat can be achieved through fundamental change in mindset, which is focused towards making India developed by 2047. However, business leaders like Infosys founder Narayan Murthy have questioned the current model of governance, stating that India's governance system has failed to innovate. To be innovative, Murthy used Delhi's pollution as an example to vindicate his point, urging the government to change its system of management and address challenges head on. The CAG has highlighted the importance of strengthening local governance for achieving Viksit Bharat. Without the development of grassroots level at the local level, we cannot achieve Viksit Bharat. More than 50% people live in rural area and until their governance, their development, their administration, their resources are not augmented, will not be able to reach the Viksit Bharat goal. With approximately 2,60,000 panchayats, 7,000 urban local bodies, strengthening these institutions is crucial for efficient implementation of government schemes. Limited public awareness represents another implementation challenge. Many citizens remain unaware of the initiative goals. The government has launched Viksit Bharat 2047 section on the MyGov portal to invite citizen suggestions. Infrastructure development at scale and speed forms the cornerstone for Viksit Bharat vision. Many areas lack necessary infrastructure to support new initiatives. This infrastructure gap encompasses transportation networks, communication systems, urban facilities needed to support economic growth. Rural development represents a particular challenge. With 50% of India's population living in rural areas, their development is essential to achieving Viksit Bharat. With CAG emphasizing until the governance, their development, their administration, their resources are not augmented, will not be able to reach Viksit Bharat goal. A major policy challenge will be finding better paying jobs in organized sector in urban areas for rural migrants, better paying jobs in the organized sector in urban areas for rural migrants. This requires not only creating employment opportunities but also ensuring that migrants have the necessary skills and support system to succeed in urban employment. Human development and social development challenges. India's human capital indicators lag behind those of developed nations, requiring significant improvements in education, health, and skill development. A study of India's youth perception regarding Viksit Bharat highlighted the gap between industry and academia as a key challenge, along with insufficient mentorship opportunities for young entrepreneurs and the inability of the Indian education system to prepare its students for the job market. More than half of the respondents in the study agreed that a significant skill gap exists in the industry sector. Creation of skilled human resources aligned with industry needs is essential for achieving the economic growth targets of Viksit Bharat 2047. While the government has implemented initiatives like National Policy on Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which has trained 1.42 crore individuals since 2015, significant challenges remain. Social disparities and inequalities present additional hurdles. Programs aimed at empowering women economically often give little consideration to social norms. Implementers are frequently apprehensive about altering societal standards. Addressing these social barriers is essential for achieving the inclusive development envisioned in Viksit Bharat 2047. Environmental sustainability represents a significant challenge. The Jindal Journal of Public Policy notes the road ahead is fraught with structural issues, climate risk, and socio-economic inequalities that would constrain achieving long-term prosperity. India has committed to achieving carbon neutrality by 2070, which requires significant transition to alternate energy sources. The balance between economic development and environmental protection represents a delicate challenge. Development activities must be designed and implemented with environmental considerations in mind to ensure long-term sustainability. Financial constraints pose a significant challenges to the implementation of Viksit Bharat 2047. Attracting mere private investment represents another financial challenge. According to discussions in a meeting for Prime Minister Modi, strategies are needed for attracting private investment and mobilizing public funds for infrastructure projects to boost economic growth and create jobs. This requires creating an enabling environment for investment through reforms in taxation, regulations, and business facilitation. Financial sector itself requires transformation to support the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. The Union Budget 25-26 outlined reforms in the financial sector as one of the six transformative reforms to accelerate India's journey towards Viksit Bharat. All these reforms aim to enhance financial inclusion, boost exports, attract foreign investment, all of which are essential to achieving the economic goals of Viksit Bharat 2047. The road to Viksit Bharat 2047 is indeed peppered with challenges, as noted by Tribune. These challenges span economic, governance, infrastructure, human development, human capital, environmental, and financial dimensions. Addressing them requires a comprehensive, coordinated approach involving all levels of government, private sector, civil society, and citizens. The vision of developed India is ambitious but achievable. With sustained efforts to overcome these challenges, as Prime Minister Modi emphasized, it requires a fundamental change in mindset and collective action. The four pillars of Viksit Bharat, Yuva, Garib, Mahila and Kisan provides a framework for addressing these challenges in an inclusive manner. The successful implementation of Viksit Bharat 2047 depends on structural reform, especially at the state and local levels of governance. It also requires innovative approaches to long-standing problems, investments in human capital and infrastructure, and a commitment to sustainable development. By addressing these key challenges with determination and creativity, India can progress towards its vision of becoming a developed nation by centenary of its independence. So, India's vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047. So, it is based on four pillars: Yuva, Mahila, Kisan, and Poor. Yuva, Garib, Mahila, and Kisan. And this vision goes beyond mere just economic growth. Also This is not just a change of sentiment, this reflects a change in confidence. And we have economic ambitions of around 8% of growth rate of 8% in constant price for a decade or two. And also we want to reach $30 trillion economy by 2047. We want to grow at a sustained pace for 7 to 10%. So for this, we require the investment rate of around 35% of GDP from the current 31%. We have set a target of $5 trillion economy in recent years and $10 trillion by the end of the next decade. We have set targets for social and social development and human capital goals. For example, we want to get 100% literacy across the nation, and it beyond literacy to enhancing the quality of educational institutions and developing the India as an educational capital. Further, we want to create around 7.85 million jobs, non-farm jobs until 2030, developing high quality future ready infrastructure at scale, and we want to develop our own space station by 2035, and with plans to eventually land India on moon. We have set up Anusandhan National Research Foundation to strengthen technological leadership. There is National Quantum Mission, National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems. Agriculture is the backbone of our economy. Agricultural modernization. Uh, we want to adopt advanced farming techniques, improved supply chain infrastructure, farmer income through effective value addition. We have set targets for our governance reforms and institutional strengthening. For example, implementing comprehensive governance reforms and justice reforms. The Union Budget outlines six transformative reforms in taxation, power, urban development, mining, financial sector, and regulatory policies. Taxation, power, urban development, mining, financial sector, and regulatory policies. And then Prime Minister Modi's leadership perspective. Before independence, 40 crore Indians showed courage uh, for national independence. Now, 140 crore Indians will take pledge for Viksit Bharat. So, this is the period of India's Amrit Kal. And so, youth power is both an agent of change and beneficiaries of change. This I have to remember. Further, the government has also adopted a multifaceted approach of citizen engagement, implementation strategies. There is a sectoral group of secretaries on technology who is identifying these things. Further, there are initiatives of Viksit Bharat 2047, Voice of Growth, Youth, and the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision, including achieving a $30 trillion economy, creating millions of new jobs, 100% literacy, and developing cutting edge technological capabilities. Now, five concrete steps for achieving Viksit Bharat. First is we have to accelerate private investment through reformed financing models. Private investment through reformed financing models. Implement an integrated human capital development framework. Implement a integrated human developmental capital framework. Strengthen rural and urban infrastructure development. Adopt green technologies and support climate transition. Adopt green technologies and support climate transition. Implement transformative governance with citizen participation. Transformative governance through citizen participation. So, Economic Survey 2024-25 also states that private investment is very crucial. We should implement a comprehensive strategy to boost private sector participation. It requires developing innovative financing mechanisms such as auctioning exits and implementing betterment levies for the build, operate, transfer, design, build, finance, operate, transfer, hybrid annuity models, and toll operate transfer structures. The government should implement a balanced approach to infrastructure development. The focus should be on rural housing, drinking water, health, sanitation, clean fuel in rural areas and in urban areas, for example, in power and urban development sectors. Incorporate disaster resilience, improved public transport, preservation of heritage sites, last mile connectivity. Corporate disaster resilience, public transport, preservation of heritage sites, last mile connectivity. Adopt green technologies and support climate transition. The government should create a dedicated fund to support communities affected by the shift away from coal based economies, financial incentives for renewable energy projects, then transformative governance. 2,60,000 gram panchayats. We have 7,000 urban local bodies. Uh, Initiatives to invite citizen participation, such as Viksit Bharat 2047 section on the MyGov portal. So, accelerating private investment, human capital, strengthening infrastructure, green technologies, and citizen governance reforms. Four pillars are Yuva Garib Yuva Garib Mahila and Kisan, Yuva Garib Mahila and Kisan. Key challenges include first is economic challenges, high inflation. अगर inflation high रहेगा तो सेविंग्स नहीं रहेगी और सेविंग्स नहीं रहेगा तो we cannot pursue investment led growth model. We have to reach $30 trillion by 2047. 7 to 10% growth rate चाहिए for 20-30 years. Investment rate must rise to around 35% of GDP from the current 31%. Economic inequality. We top 1% earn around 53 lakh per annum while bottom 50% 75,000 each. So there is also middle income trap. We have to work towards avoiding this middle income trap. The economy has stagnated and its contribution to agriculture and service sectors, hindering its transition to more advanced and diversified nation. Governance and implementation challenges, slow decision making processes. Narayan Murthy has questioned the current model of governance, stating that India's governance system has failed to be innovative. The Comptroller and Auditor General has highlighted the importance of strengthening local governance to achieving Viksit Bharat. Without the development of grassroots level at the local level, we cannot achieve Viksit Bharat. More than 50% people live in rural areas, and until their governance, their development, administration, and resources are not augmented, will not be able to achieve that. So that's all. See you in the next one.